Hi everyone, this is Upasna. I am speaking with two of my colleagues, Saba and Charul, today. It's a fresh comeback from our recent Leaders for Change Summit that we did in Baroda as well as in Lucknow. The first one was in Lucknow it was between 23rd of June till the 26th of June. And then we had our next round of regional summit, which was in Baroda. From 30th of June till July 3rd. There were a lot of exciting learnings and insights and episodes that we were able to capture. We are meeting exclusively with Saba and Charul today just to hear their side of stories. What they felt really were some of the biggest pieces that they would like to share with the rest of you. Just on the onset, I would like to share that Shadika hosts Leaders for Change Summit to bring all the young women scholars across who are the part of our program partners and allied organizations, supporters of Shadika, for example, AJWS and Empower. Who have been supporting us from the past 2 years. This was their second year with us as well. Uh, this year's summit's theme was Ab Hamari Bari, which is Our Time Is Now. That resonated well with the young women's spirit and energy that they bring. It is a collective action that they were all seeking for, that they were preparing for, and it lied within their individual strength and capacity that brought them together from different region, from different speaking different dialects, representing different gender identities, and which gave us the opportunity to see that what collective action and solidarity of women really brings in when they're all brought under the same roof. The 2.5 days residential event, which we had in Lucknow and Baroda, was a great opportunity for us to bring almost close to 200 young women with support of our program partners, Milan in Lucknow and Sayur in Gujarat. Today with Saba and Charul, we want to talk about uh, the scenes behind the Leaders for Change Summit, what it means to support such an event, and so let's hear more from them. Hi Sabah, hi Charul. Would you like to give your a quick introduction?
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Charul and I am Scholarship Program Officer at Shadika.
Hello everyone, my name is Sabah Siddiqui. I work at Shadika as a scholar and alum liaison from since 4 years.
Thank you, Sabah. Thank you, Charul. And just to add to my work that I do at Shadika, I work as a director of programs and I work very closely with both Sabah and Charul. So it's my pleasure to really speak to both of them to hear their versions, how the 2023 summit really taught us. To begin with, Sabah, the summit is like a platform where we bring the scholars and participants from various backgrounds to connect with each other, to brainstorm, and to really think about what actions that they can be taken at individual level and collectively. And it was a chance for these young women leaders to really steer that conversation, which they're already doing in their communities. But it was an opportunity for them to do that in person. So, can you share a specific moment or a conversation that stayed with you, showing the impact of the scholars and the participants in their communities? If you can think of a story or a conversation that showcased their leadership, that would be great.
Thanks, Upasna, for the question. I think if I think about the specific moment, so during the summit, a few scholars were talking about how they have done a project on dropout topics in their communities. And they were not only showing and sharing their experiences and what and how they were also exchanging their ideas and their thoughts about new activities they can do for to create awareness about a right to education. So I remember that one of the scholar mentioned how vital it is to interact with the young dropout youths, but also it is equally important and crucial to engage with parents, engage with their families. So how the family also played a significant part. So these scholars they were not exchanging, how and what they did, but also sharing tips and how new activities they do. And also during the summit, Shadika was able to give training for the community leadership project to 34 second year scholars from Shadika, and these 34 scholars have chosen their own topics as per the community needs, and they have planned their project and timelines, and also they are prepared to make a difference in the community. As our theme was, our time is now, ab hamari bari. Now they are taking lead and stepping ahead and taking more initiative. Thanks, Upasna.
Thank you, Sabah, so much for sharing, talking about uh, the scholars, how it is such an integral part that the strength does not only lie between the conversations that sparked between them, but it is also about the string of support that they continue to receive from their parents, and there was so much of and it also gives us it kind of resonates with the idea of why we bring the young women every year together at the Leaders for Change Summit. All right. Charul, I wanted to hear from you. Um, what was something that, when we think about Shadika's principles of growth, which emphasizes on the importance of connection and community, proud and being confident, and remaining curious and being always open to learn, and always ensuring that there is fun and affirming moments for the scholars. How was that really reflecting throughout the summit when we have to think about these principles being put into practice? Does any specific event or moments come to your mind?
I think thanks for bringing out this question, Upasna, because it's really important for us to really embody our principle of growth. But I would say that while we were planning summit to when we were executing summit, each and every activity was reflecting, it embodied our principle of growth. I would, for example, it's very, we had spaces for young women to sing together, to dance together, to celebrate life, to celebrate their small and bigger achievements. Uh, and also, as Sabah mentioned, that there were participants and scholars from diverse backgrounds, diverse lived experiences. It did trigger a sense of curiosity amongst them to get to know each other, to get to know each other's challenges, their strengths, their choices, and their dreams. And it was really beautiful to see how it was coming up together, how the sense of community and connection was emerging during that time. I would also take a specific example, which I heard from a Shadika coordinator, and she beautifully mentioned that, just it could come across as a small thing, but just walking up to the stage as a graduate and addressing hundreds of people, and sharing their stories, sharing their journey of what it takes to be a graduate for a girl in India itself was a huge moment of pride for not only the scholars but also the people behind them supporting them. So it does embodies the principle of Shadika's principle of growth, as you mentioned, pride and confidence, also community and sense of belongingness.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Charul, which it means that, sometimes we do get, sometimes we do miss out the opportunity where girls and young women actually get to celebrate their life, their achievements, and the little things that they have really won over the course of time. Because all these young women who come, who are part of the Shadika scholarship program, who are supported by Shadika's and program partners, overall wraparound support, it it kind of entails the fact that these young women hardly have any access to such opportunities and have very restricted mobility. And when it comes to really taking time to have fun, or to do something which kind of mirrors with the real time experiences of other women, I think the Leaders for Change Summit is a place for them to really kindle those little moments, those little joys that they have experienced in their own personal lives, and they talk about it and have their little laugh and banter about it. So I absolutely echo that. Um, I would want to know a little bit around, when it comes to, collective action, when it comes to taking really, uh, whenever we think about the word collective action, it is very powerful. And the summit's theme was the theme was also Ab Hamari Bari. It also talks about them taking actions. So I have a question for you, Sabah. The Leaders for Change Summit kind of brings together the powerful collective of scholars and facilitators and the partners who are working towards gender justice and equity and equality for several decades, for several years, not only under Shadika's partnership, but also independently in their space of work. For many of these participants, it is their first time that they have stepped out of their houses and using public transports, or come to a place which is very different from where they live and who they meet. And it is a unique experience. One scholar who traveled by flight for the first time, is also an experience for them. And I remember where, one of the scholars had come and said that, Didi, I could not take my eyes off the clouds. The blue and the white sky looked very beautiful. When I heard that, I feel that that was something one of the scholars had like shared with you. So can you share why is it so important for us to bring everybody together in such an event, and not only create a learning experience but for them, but it is also, what are some the other attributes that kind of help them to strengthen their overall experiences when we talk about the overall vision of Shadika, that is an individual growth and the vision of gender justice in India, and how women and girls can be contributing to that.
Thank you, Basna, for bringing this question. I think I have a lot of thought. If I'll say, so I think it's important to make an inclusive platform, and I'm glad like Shadika was able to invite all the young women, married women, trans women, and men as allies, and also alum together to learn from and hear them. So, from a scholar's perspective, so I was also a scholar and I attended Shadika's first summit, so I can also resonate with them very well. So, I remember like for a scholar, even leaving their house is a significant accomplishment. And in Hindi, which society is कि कभी भी लड़कियां शादी से पहले घर के बाहर नहीं रह सकती है. No girl should stay out of the house before her marriage. But however, as scholars find their voice into their world, they are impacting not just their communities, but also their parents, their relatives, their neighbors. So, uh, so शुरुआत तो कहीं से करनी होगी. So scholars proved that they have started their, they taking initiative, taking leads, and asking and negotiating. So they have already started. So during the summit, also we were able to see under one roof, they were all learning. They were from different backgrounds, different cultures, different languages they speak, different geographic area. Their passion towards gender justice was the same. They all have done many community projects in awareness campaign in school, colleges, communities, but under one roof, scholars and participants came together. They were learning from each other, they were sharing their experiences, and also gaining a lot of confidence to go back to their communities and peers and share their learnings with them, and continuing their individual and collective actions. So that was all about the summit, where they were engaging, making new friends, and now they are back to their home with a lot of thoughts, with a lot of curiosity. So I think that's all from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, Tasaba, I think that's very beautifully how you have beautifully really narrated it, that um it is actually an opportunity, not just an opportunity, but it is also an experience for young women to negotiate with their family, to and take that decision for their first time, which is like what you said, like mostly most Indian women, most Indian girls are not allowed to live outside their houses before they're married. And this opportunity where so many girls were able to negotiate with their families for the first time, and carrying that trust is also a very big accomplishment. And being able to come back to the family and sharing their stories of achievements and of their learnings must be such a proud moment and a heartfelt moment for these young women, as well as for the families, to see how education is an important vehicle for every individual, especially young women, to change her course of life and escape from the various risks, including poverty, and ensuring that there is a safety net that she's able to build through education, not only for herself, but also for her family. Something more that I would want to hear is probably Charul, if you can tell me a little bit about some of the key learnings and the insights that maybe I would like to hear from both of you, both Charul and Sabah, and what were some of the big learnings and insights that emerged from both these summits. And that kind of helped you as a program team to think deeper about the impact of the work that Shadika does through scholarship work.
So, Upasna, I think as a scholarship team, as people who are working under, and doing delivering the program, I think it was such a learning space to interact with scholars and young women during summit. I think one of the major learnings was one that you know it started with the idea and overarching theme of collective action. It's really, really important to bring the intersectionality that our young women are coming from. It's really important to mainstream the ones that have never got the platform and opportunity. Um, even I recall from the when we were conversing with the scholars, a lot, right? Be it a trans woman scholar or a scholar who was married off at young age, the scholarship support was something that stood out. That was the major, that was the major push for them to be able to change the trajectory of their lives. And it is also affirming that the kind of work we are doing is really, really important to break that cycle that our young women are stuck in. uh, I think one of the major learning was this, and it was also affirming.
Um,
Sabah, would you like to add some thoughts?
Yeah, I think beautifully Charul has covered. I think I would like to add one more thing would be, so as Leaders for Change Summit, we closed our event with the graduation ceremony, and we were celebrating all the graduates. So it's important to celebrate them, and they know, like, they came from these beautiful journey where from their first year to degree, from their school to degree, and now it's taking. They will be going to take one more step towards the job and the career they have dreamed. So, bringing them in one platform and celebrating them, it's one of the, we feel like we should continue. And the new scholars, the juniors who are seeing them as their role model, they will keep thinking and doing more hard work and with more passion, with their more passion, they will complete their degree, and then at the end they will also going to come for the graduation ceremony. So it's more like role modeling for them. So we should continue celebrating our graduates, our scholars who are completing and achieving their chosen degree.
uh, I would
Go
like
ahead,
to,
Char.
I think absolutely, I would like to add to Sabah's thought. And it's and talking about the graduation ceremony and really celebrating graduates and first generational learners who are achieving degrees. It's imagine, and it was really thought provoking and insightful. Imagine in communities and societies where when a woman is has taken birth, it is not celebrated at all. Throughout our lives and throughout young women's life, they are seen as liability. So education and itself is very, very, they are deprived of the rights and the opportunities, and especially the education that they deserve. uh, Coming from that kind of environment to the place where they are celebrated with the ceremony, it's very important to ceremonialize the graduation and their achievement, to also, as Sabha mentioned, role model for other young women, but to fill in to also fill in them with the existence, the affirmation that it's what they deserve, and it is something to celebrate.
Thank you, Sabah and Charul, for really sharing such finer details and learnings from the summit that kind of often when you're so busy and caught up in the 2.5 days, you don't really get to reflect on all of these things. But over the course of time, once the summit is all completed, and then when you're able to think over it, what really sparked, what were some of those moments that kind of stayed with us. I think that kind of helps us to remind us what is it that we should continue doing, that kind of that resonates with our mission, with our vision, and our principles of growth. And what are certain things that we feel that our scholars and the participants are teaching us, um, that we need to integrate within our designing, within our implementation of the overall Leaders for Change Summit and the scholarship. Taking that thought ahead, like I would like to hear from some of what are one or two key takeaways from the summit that you believe would resonate with the donors and the supporters, and how do you believe this collective action at the summit can inspire and motivate our supporters to continue supporting Shadika's scholarship and the overall program partnership work that we do in India.
Upasana, as I we've as we are talking and discussing around the overall experience when women come together, when these young women come together with diverse background, with lived experiences, I think one of the major uh, thing that at least I resonate with is from Shatika's work, from the kind of support we are providing to our program partners as well as scholars, is that each and every scholar during our conversation did mention that had there been no support that they had received from Shadika, either they would have been dropped out after completion of their class 12th or been married. So imagine a huge number that is actually contributing to the betterment of the young women that we are supporting. It's not just the betterment of their life, but also they can it's the steps towards our mission, the larger mission of gender justice. I think this is really crucial, and it also provides that chances and opportunities to women and communities that we are working in to live and lead a dignified life. So it is to actually keep supporting and keep bringing in keep and as the theme suggested, I think it's the theme of the entire work that we do. We cannot do it alone. It's a collective effort and collective action to achieve the mission of gender justice. So we should keep doing the work that we are doing.
Thank you so much, Charul. And I feel I want to echo on those same notes that this work is difficult. And whenever when we talk about development and when we talk about crisis, it is always the women and girls who are impacted the most and the least served. And generationally and over the years, we have seen that how women and girls are the only strata in the population um, when it comes to the prioritization of education or access to resources and equal distribution of resources or opportunities. It has been narrowed down by the time it reaches their hand. And the only way for them to really break this intergenerational cycle of poverty or violence and discrimination based on their caste, based on the stereotypes and the societal socially constructed ideologies. Um, Education has always been the only way to curate and challenge the mindsets that kind of stop women and girls from achieving their dreams and aspiration. And education is the only way that can help them to make their lives secure. And education is the only way where they can create a pipeline of leaders and second generation learners, because we do see that within Shadika we do have some of our young women who are first generation learners, and they are married young women, they are trans women scholars. So it is our firm belief that this is just a movement. When we talk about gender justice, the movement of gender justice is critical, and education is one thing that really can help to dismantle the deep rooted and gendered biases that limit the opportunity and the strength and the capacity of young women to be an independent and a more grown person. So I say that it is really important for us to continue the support that we see, that we provide. And through to Shadika, that is something that I would like to spread to our supporters and our donors. And thank you so much, Sabah and Charul, for spending the afternoon and to share your insights with us. Thank you very much.